Hey guys, this is Joe Mitchell, Fly RC Joe Workshop. Working on the 60% wings. I've done large wing panels before, and I've really found that if you go too big, you're going to actually get a bow in your wing because of the foam and things like that and the way that everything works. So I like to cut them in two pieces, and I've had some people ask me in the past how I figure all that out, so I'd love to just show it. So what we do is I do cardboard templates of my foam so that they just match. So when I had this as one piece before I cut it, I actually made lines that conjoined. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. These didn't matter. They have to kind of taper as they come up. And that will help you figure out if these drag right. So then what I did is I came up with some tape here on the bench that showed my water line, how much I want, dihedral in the bottom of the wing because of the thickness. And then what you can do is you can take all those numbers, number 1, and you can measure back and try to figure out this middle section, which is the hard part. So I sat there and wrote down all the numbers I made the root and the wingtip, and then to figure out this middle one is the hardest one. And once you have all these numbers, you can take number 1 and you can strive it from wingtip to root, and then you can draw it to the center, and that'll tell you your height off a center line that you need to be on your wing, your panel. And that's how it's going to help you have that perfect transition. It's definitely, two-piece panels are a lot harder, but it's truly the best way to do it. I know that there's a question of, well, you're going to have a break point in your wing. Well, no, you won't, because we're going to go through some things on these wings where I'm going to show you how I do my wing spars, and I've kind of explained it in the past, but I really do want to go through it one more time just for questions. We're going to do a new T-spar design in these wings just because how big they are. Let me just show you how nice these go together if you lay it all on the bench and line everything up. When I glue these together, there is zero transition. These are absolutely perfect, and they're still perfectly flat. That is the biggest key with this. I'm very disappointed. I do have a wing ping there, but it's not too bad. But when you line this up, it's perfectly flat. There's no problems. When I come here, there's no problems. When I come back here, there's no problems. That's the reason it is so key to draw those lines as transitions, just like you would pretend that big bow is going to cut it. Really super key. And the other one, I think most people know that have cut foam, how to cut in their wing tube sockets. It's pretty darn simple. You figure out your water line. You make 2 templates. One goes on the root, one goes on the tip here. And you just pull out a little box of foam. And then you slice all the way down through to the table so that your template sits down to the table. You put a couple little weights on it so that it isn't wacky on you. And then you just use the bow and you pull it out. And then what I do is just chuck this back down in there and use my actual socket to cut through and knock out that center section. I hope this helps. Big wing panels are definitely a challenge. Really do prefer to start out with a little bit smaller wing panels. Don't go big at first because it's a real challenge, but it's totally doable. Just think about where you're going to put that panel, make your outer and your tips, and then just use a straight edge and check through that transition period, just so that you don't have any dips. So I hope this helps, and we'll keep it up. Thanks. Quick little update on a couple of things. Sorry it's so late. It's just that time of year. That's the reason we do most of our building during the winter time. So, but still plugging away here on the 60% wings, and there's a couple of things that I really want to talk about. Coring, really trying to explain some things, some theories, why I'm doing things. Hopefully you guys will find it interesting. I want to talk about T-spar. That's my main reason I'm doing this tonight. Everybody knows, well, not everybody knows, I do a flat, laying on the top of the foam spar. It stands here, and what we do is we add fiberglass underneath. We have done carbon fiber, and I've really found that the fiberglass seems to be stronger. Once it's all in there, the tensile strength is really high, just like carbon fiber, but it's lighter. It's easier to work with. It's cheaper.
Hi, Tanner.
But it's not about price. It's about, hey, Tanner, it's not about the price of using the carbon fiber. If I thought that the carbon fiber was going to make this wing that much stronger, I'd be using it. I mean, just to sheet these wings is 40 sheets of 48 by 4 inch wide balsa. So if you're going to go chintz out for a piece of carbon that costs $3, don't do that. But I have really found over a lot of testing that the fiberglass has been amazing. So this new T-spar is going to be kind of interesting. It's all channeled down in, and what we're going to do is...
Hello, Brad.
Hey, Brad. We are going to actually put this in wet as we're laying up the wings. Now, I've done some experiments in actually laying this up, vacuum bagging it, but the problem is if your wing, if it's on a diagonal and it has to curve just a little bit or twist just a little bit, if you laid this up, then you're going to have problems getting it down in there. And that's the reason I'm going to do this in the foam bed so that it can actually manipulate itself to the wing, and then it'll add the strength. The nice part is so this is 3/4 of an inch, and this is 1 1/8 wide. Now, right now, you can see how much it flexes. Well, my other spars flex, but once they're in there with the fiberglass on the bottom and the fiberglass on the top, they're amazingly strong. So I do know that this is going to be stronger. We've done a bunch of experiments. I'm super excited about this. Hey, what are you guys all doing still up?
Brad wants to know. He says, don't you have anything better to do than this at 10:30 at night? Yes.
No, this is the only time we have time to get it done.
I do, Brad. My pillow is calling.
So, we're going to put this in wet. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wet out I'm going to use 1.4 ounce cloth, 3 inches wide, that will get wetted out on a piece of Mylar. We drop that down onto the foam, and then I'm going to put a syringe of epoxy right here in these little tiny corners. And I found that to be the best way to install this. It doesn't add too much weight, too much resin, because again, resin is not your friend. Too much resin makes things too brittle. If you don't use enough, well, it doesn't do the point anyway. So that's the T-spar design. it's going to be really cool how, believe it or not, it adds a ton of tensile strength.
Hang on, let me get back so they can see.
So the neatest part is if I snap it, I snap it. This is one of my test ones that another one that we were testing with. But you can see how you can really manipulate it still. But once you add the fiberglass to it, and it is all vacuum bagged down on there, this becomes pretty dang cool. So going into coring. I've experimented a long time with different coring, doing holes, doing latticing. The problem I see with a lot of coring is guys will spend 2 days to take out, this is 10 ounces, okay, of coring. Well, then they'll add 11 ounces of carbon fiber crisscrossing everywhere in there. What was the point of doing all the work? I mean, this took me days and days and days to do all the templates and everything else. This is 10 ounces. The spar was going to go in anyways. The bottom piece spar right there was 1.2 ounces. That spar compared to one without the spar is only adding 1.2 ounces. So the spar was going to go in anyways, but the T-spar didn't add that much more, so I was able to go a little bit more aggressive. Especially, I always stop right here at the end of the wing tube. I never core the wing tube section. Well, because of the new T-spar design, it's going to stiffen things up even more from my testing. I know that I'm safe to take that out. Now, you're also going to notice that I got cross laterals coming across right here where there's going to be a piece of 1.4 ounce cloth coming across to help stiffen the wing up. PAU had a Edge 540 43% that had a cross lateral bar in his wing, and it really stiffened up the wings. So I want to give full credit to that design where that kind of came from. I have done that on another one. We've done a bunch of testing on it, and it really was super, super rigid and stiff. So this is, when you guys do coring, please take it easy. Do not make it a noodle. The guys that are noodling them, it's just scary. I mean, I don't think really I could take out much more out of this wing. I mean, I've got about 65%. Well, I've taken out about 40% of the wing in foam. So just be careful. A couple other things. When you guys do your wire channels, okay, a big key, I do not run my wires through my open pockets, okay? The reason is why is because that wire's in there just bouncing along and it will chew a hole. Pirate models years ago had foam wing ribs and it was super awesome, but they didn't have a channel for the wire, and so as the wire would bounce, it would just sit there and chew out those foam wings, and it was actually the ultimate detriment to that wing. If we would have made a sleeve, that would have cured the problem. So, but just when you do your channels, do not channel, don't leave your wires open. That's a big thing that I've learned over the years. But
welcome, Kelly.
The wing ribs over the latticing, we know that wing ribs are stronger. Yeah, so there's the updated process. We've got 40 more sheets to start gluing together into
you guys
one
can
sheet.
see this.
So
We sanded this last night.
that's only one wing.
Look at that.
So there is 40 sheets of 4-inch wide, 1/16. It's a lot of wood.
And it's all nice and smooth.
Yes. I want to say thanks to Terry for making me buy an awesome drum sander that has cut down my sheeting time in half.
Welcome, Eric.
So
Terry has a question.
Okay.
He wants to know, where are the wires going to the outer two servos?
Okay, so I kind of show this. So you're going to see this balsa strip here. When I take my router and I make these channels, I fill it back in with an 1/8 inch wide, 1/8 inch tall piece of balsa. So my wire channel, I just stuff it in the backside before I install the boxes. So I just make a nice long channel. Now, I did this, we built this for the CB 100 out here. So these ones are going to come along and kick in. And then the wire for the CB 100, I do want that separate. I don't want it tied in with the other because of RF reasons in my stupidness. But so that one's going to come straight in. Now, I did go ahead and make another channel to hook to this channel at the last. I did that because maybe somebody's going to come out with something better than the CB400. Well, I didn't want to tie this up to having to bring a wire all the way through and all the way back down. That's too much wire length. So, yeah, these ones just come through, and I just use a rat tail and a drum, a router drum to make my channels, and I just make them twice the depth.
Welcome, Steve.
Hey, Steve. Man, maybe we should do these at 10:30 at night. Everybody comes on.
I know.
So this is another dumb one. My hard points for all my surfaces. We actually make this, and I think we've talked about it, but if we haven't, well, here it is. So we take a piece of light ply, 3/4 inch balsa, and then hard ply, and then a 1/4 inch on the top. That means when you recess it in there, you can just leave it a little bit proud and then shave that off so that everything's in there nice and smooth. Then when I drill in my holes for my horns, it's not just hooked into just balsa, and it's not heavy at all.
Welcome, Trevor.
Compared to just Trevor
Johnson.
Hey, Trevor Johnson. What's up, Mayor?
It's been years.
So this adding of the plywood really helps in those hard points. And also, because it's all vacuum bagged, this balsa doesn't gain a lot of strength, but it does squeeze it down. It does soak the balsa, so it's really nice and hard. Yeah. So hopefully this helps on coring. Is there any other crazy questions on coring?
You know, Tyler's going to be super sad we didn't tell him we were doing this.
I know.
We got in trouble last
We're
time.
going to get in trouble for this one. So just to review, I'm super excited about this 60%er project. It's pushing that envelope as a builder. I feel like I'm back to building my first 40%er again, and 40%ers now, I don't know, it's just kind of a little bit easier because I've done it so many times. This is really pushing my realm. So super excited about that.
Trevor says he loves the build.
Thanks. So 1.4 ounce cloth is going to be put in during the layup, not pre, because I want that T-spar to flex and mold itself perfectly to the wing. When you're bagging...
Try and take pictures or maybe even set up the live
We will. Yeah. These bagging of these wings, these things are pretty big.
You think?
It's going to be a feat in itself just to flip the sheets and get everything on there, but so we should be able to do it. I feel like we've done close to this size. So just to compare something really quick. That's Sally's wing, so 154 inches before. And you can also see that, talking about coring, we used to core out just the front leading edge, just the spar lines. And then we would come through and we would take out the balsa and everything. Now, this is great, but the problem is as it flexes, you get a lot of these little wing zits from the foam. And it's just one of those things that most people say, what are you balking about? Well, it's just one of those things that just drives me nuts. And so that's the reason I'm not going to take out the sheeting in the main panel. Now, when it comes to ailerons, okay, one of the biggest keys, in my opinion, with flutter, with jumpiness of servos, is servos, servo wire, ball links. It all plays into it. But one of the biggest keys is the weight of that surface. If you have a super heavy surface and that servo's sitting there having to work its guts off to hold that heavy surface up, that's going to be a big problem. So I will never stop coring. Well, I should never say never, because I said I'd never build a 60%. Well,
right.
So, but as of right now, I've really found removing the coring in the ailerons is something I won't change from. Now, the crazy part is I get wing zits in these upper panels, but I do not get wing zits in my ailerons. Now, I'm coring them the exact same. I'm cleaning them the same. I'm sanding it to make sure to get all the little hard glue points out. When you're melting it, you know, you're going to make little hard points. I clean it the same. But it's funny that the ailerons don't do it like the wing panels. So, again, I don't know. Yeah, but we're going to get away from coring the main wing panels, even though it's worked. I mean, the flat spar that we've done forever with the fiberglass, it's really, really worked. So hopefully this stuff will help you guys on, if you ever go to decide to do some coring, make sure to not make full wings. I've done it in the past, and then we've made them to break them. I would not do that anymore. I make sample pieces of T-spars, piece of foam. You know, I didn't even add the balsa to it just because I wanted to see the strength of it. Build some experiments. That is the biggest fun part about the hobby for me, is trying new things, trying to come up with something that's better, trying to improve upon something that you've been doing forever, a flat spar. Well, the T-spar is super simple. I mean, it's just routed together and then tacked together with CA. But again, I did not overly tack it because I don't want it to become brittle. I tacked it together, and then when I do the resin, that's going to glue it together, and that's where the strength's going to come from. So hopefully this helps. Thanks, guys, for coming on tonight. Sorry for being so late, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
Tanner says it's still 9:30 and it's shop time at his house.
Okay. So, cool.
Okay. See you
Thanks
guys.
again. Appreciate it, guys. We're going to start talking about wing sheeting. We have a friend that's going to start on his first build, and he was asking about wing sheeting, and it's something that I think we'll talk about every single time, because I also think we evolve. You know, in the past we used carbon fiber. Well, now we're using fiberglass, and people say, well, why? Well, we've done some testing, and we found that it's just as strong, and it's lighter, and it adheres better. I had problems with carbon fiber not adhering, and that's why I started experimenting with the fiberglass. You know, some days I should throw this old junk away, but it's kind of fun to have examples of like what we were seeing. So this was glued down in a 54% wing, and as it would flex, it would cause a little tiny pop-up. Well, it wasn't staying stuck to the actual wood, even though we had glue coming underneath. They were glued down really well, but this is such a smooth surface on the carbon fiber, it started popping. So what I did on the next experiment was I added the 1.4 ounce cloth and a 1.4 ounce cloth to the outside so that it would adhere something better. And that really is where the fiberglass trick started from. The fiberglass trick also is kind of a glider thing. Guys have been doing because beachy wood is hard to get. So guys are trying to use balsa and trying to get the strength out of it. So it kind of all started from that. So you can see that the carbon toe was just not adhering. As that wing would flex, it would just peel it off. And so we kind of had a problem with that. So just crazy example. You've all seen this now. This one's finally going in the garbage. So
Rocky McCarter says, "Hey Joe."
Hey Rocky, how are you tonight? We're going to talk about wing sheeting tonight. And how to save yourself some wood. How to also make it easier. And how I used to do it. You don't have to have the big drum sander. The big drum sander or a wide belt sure is handy. If you guys can find a cabinet shop, if you guys don't have a wide belt or a drum sander, going and finding a local cabinet shop, grabbing 2 scraps. Here's how we do it. We take this right here is 40 sheets at 1/16. We stack it up and it's uneven and different thicknesses. And then we take a scrap of plywood, 3/4 inch. I've done it with 1/4 inch, but I do like to use just 3/4. It's easy to find on job sites or just projects that we have kicking around. So then we just use a clamp. Now you do have to use a straight edge to make sure that this is vertical, because you do not want those stacks leaned over, because then they're going to all sand them on an angle and you don't want that. So then we clamp these together into a big log. And then we would just run it through the big sander a couple of times on the top, flip it over, run it through, making sure that everything was staying nice and straight. It is so handy, and it shaves down the amount of time that I spend on sheeting. I used to spend days and days and days. I want to say a huge, I probably say it too much, but I want to give a huge shout out to Terry for turning me on to this trick. He used his wide belt, and it worked, and it turned me on to it, and I was able to finally find one for a decent price.
We have a picture. We posted some pictures just before we started.
Yep, so please
There's a
look at the
picture
wide
there.
belt. It's just, mine's a double drum sander. I've heard of guys using like a DeWalt planer. That would work, but it's going to chatter it up a little bit. But hey, it would work. It would smooth it out. Just be careful with the planer that you're not taking off too much, because I would really see you guys dishing it or carving it or really hurting your wood. So now, to kind of show you guys how I used to do it. This is a very simple tool that a dear friend of mine, which is no longer with us, named Dan Rollins, Birdman Dan, gave me this, and this is what he would call a spline sander. And it worked really, really well. I still keep it around because it's nice to have if you're working on something like what I'm doing. So all this was is a straight edge of an angle of aluminum, a nice smooth board with a piece of sticky 100 grit paper. Okay, so and a nice sanding bar, a nice big sanding bar. What we used to do is we'd glue together the sheets in 2 sections at a time, and then we would come here and we would spline sand, holding it down firmly. You would rub this back and forth and straighten out all those curves. So if you have some big sheets, you need to build a bigger spline sander. Because if I work this much at all, I'm going to cause an issue with it. So,
Hi, Tyler.
hey Tyler, nice talking to you tonight. So there's a crazy cheap tool called a spline sander. And it's really simple. So all I would use is a straight bar, and I would set it on there and look at the curve. I would slice it, then come to the spline sander, get it, measure it, splice it, and then glue it together. Now, the discussion about gluing together sheets, I do it. It takes a lot of time. If you're doing open coring, it's really necessary. If you're not going to do open coring, it's not as necessary. You can tape together your sheets especially when they're spline sanded the way that we're doing it. You can tape them together, and when you rub your epoxy, it will balloon down into the joints. You can actually see it come through the joints, and especially when you're final sanding your wing, you'll actually hear the epoxy. So that does work, but I do like to edge glue them, and I also believe it makes a little bit stronger wing. It's a little easier for me to work with big sheets also. That's the reason I definitely stick with it on all of your 40% and above.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Terry. Just gave you a big shout out.
I think I might be better over here today.
This is the sheets that we're working on for the cat. Okay, so there's your inside. And what we did is we just built one great big sheet. Okay, and then I actually purposely made it too big. Now this is going to be your top. And then when you slice that off, you can actually take your cut off. Kind of show. So, as we're building the sheet and gluing it together, we're just setting weights everywhere to kind of stop it from moving. And then you just grab tape and pull tight to kind of pull your joint together. And it will make your wood kind of warpy a little bit. But if you pulled all the tape off, it just sits nice and flat. You're going to notice that it didn't pull it as tight and it stays nice and flat on the big side. So,
we also have pictures of that posted as well.
Yes.
With the weights on it. Hi, Tanner Pennington.
Hey, Tanner. So, my other thing, I've seen guys do verticals and stagger them when doing sheeting. I like 45 joints because nothing can ever follow. Okay? This really does help. Now, a really big key that I see people doing mistakes when they're sheeting their wings, I always start with the top of the wing, and then I can use my cutoffs to save it. Now, this saved me an absolute ton of wood on this, guys. I did the calculations on it, and it was 24 sheets and 24 sheets on the other end, chopping off. By the time I'm said and done, that's going to be my entire scrap. So I'm not throwing away a ton of wood. So the calculations showed that I should have been using 40 sheets of wood. What is absolutely crazy about this, and I'm super proud about it, this thing's going to take 28 sheets instead of 40 sheets. So I guess we sanded too much. I guess we'll use it on the turtle decks, the rudders, everything else that's coming up. So some big keys. Let me get back in the groove here. Sorry. Some really big keys with sheeting wings is not, and this is key when you're trying to use your scrap for your front and your back end. You can actually set this on there and kind of get a good reference of how many you need. So I need 4 sheets wide to fill this in. Now, a big mistake that happens, and we've seen it when we've built the wings to then break them, when you start adding weird pressures, if you run a really thin wing and you have your glue joints identical, it's not good. It can actually shear through. So as I'm laying the next sheet out, I'm making sure that I am a ½ an inch off of the one below. I'm also going to take this whole stagger sheet, and I don't want these to stagger together either. So I'm going to scooch this down just a little bit so that it's not following it perfectly. Okay? And then when I start the next sheets, I'm going to purposely move my joint quite a bit further down so that these joints in this wing, as it tries to twist, that's not a shear point. Okay? that's really, really key to not get your sheets identical top and bottom. So you need to make sure that those lines do not follow, and also this webbing, try not to follow it as much. You don't have to be off huge, but you should not be on top of. And then next, I'll just do a nice little bead of glue on this, tape it together, use the weights to hold it all there, build the next sheet, trim it to match, and then I will lightly sand. I do not worry about on the inside. I don't worry about getting all of this glue off. I worry about it being smooth, but that's it. So another big key that I found was I'm gluing together my sheets. We're just setting the little weights all over it. I will take a roller, laminate roller, and I will roll over this after it's taped together to make sure that those are perfectly flat. So you're not, when you feel the backside of these, they are just smooth. If there's going to be a dip, I want it in the top to where I can sand that out when the wing's done.
Welcome, Tanner Curtis.
Hey, Tanner. Next big key with sheeting wings. Oh, some other things that I was thinking about today. When you're gluing your sheets down to the wood or down to a bench top, I have tried in the past some wax paper, but the problem was the side that's down is actually the side that's going to be adhered to the epoxy or to the Gorilla Glue. And I've used both. Epoxy, Gorilla Glue, weights, salt bags, vacuum bagging. It all works, whatever you want to do, but I do highly recommend. Terry got me into it, finally buying a vacuum bagger. And wow, what a difference. It's well worth every penny. But the old weight trick and pieces of plywood and salt bags, it works as long as you have a super flat bench top, like an old pallet rack with some 3/4 inch ply on there with supports going through it. You got to build a really heavy bench to be able to do the salt trick, because you need to apply a lot of even pressure. So with that, there's so much to talk about sheeting.
Terry says Gorilla Glue is the devil.
Gorilla Glue is really good. I build a lot of really light, good wings with it, but epoxy is definitely better. But if you're going to use Gorilla Glue, the biggest kicker or biggest trick that I learned was warming the glue for quite a bit in a hot cup of water, not in the microwave, because it'll affect the glue.
I can attest to that. He runs in the house.
Yep, big old cup of water.
Gets a big old mug full of water.
And I do it even when I put in all my wing tube sockets with Gorilla Glue. So if you guys warm the glue first for a good half an hour in hot, hot water and let it really soak in, it gets really nice and thin. It's not thick and hard to work with. And only us guys that are in cold weather environments experience that. You, Randy, and Tanner, you guys are too warm to begin with. So it probably works really well for you guys. But if you warm it, it'll go a little bit thinner, and then you can use a playing card to squeegee it around. But so I've been asked about, and I've tried it myself, the wax paper on the floor. The problem was, on the bench top, so that when you're gluing it, it's not sticking down to the bench.
Terry says except wing tube sockets.
Yep.
Tyler Brown, do you do the hairspray trick to keep so much epoxy from penetrating the balsa?
No. So I've done the hairspray trick. I'm still in more experimentation and denial with that. I saw some really weird things that I still can't define that it was the hairspray. But I had some really weird problems with covering, and there was some discussion that it was the hairspray. I don't know. And this is where the wax paper thing comes into play. Those wings that I had problems with, I had laid down wax paper on the bench so that it wouldn't stick. Well, when I was putting the epoxy on those wings, it was really quite blotchy.
And I had done the hairspray trick, and so I thought, it's the hairspray. But I could always feel that there was a light bit of wax, and I think it was from the wax paper, on that wood. And
the covering did not
stick. First flight, coverings flying off the airplane. And it was quite interesting. And we sanded down the wings a couple of times, and then we switched away from monocoat because we thought it was a monocoat problem, and we switched to ultra coat, and it's on the 50% cap that we're flying today, and we finally got it resolved, and it's sticking.
Terry says, I think he's referring to hairspray on the inside before applying the resin.
Yes, and I've tried that too. I don't mind that it soaks in because I think it's making a stronger wing. Now, I am very quick about spreading it around because I don't want it to soak through too much. But yeah, the hairspray thing, and I mean, there's a can of it sitting over there, so I use it, but I'm very cautious about it. So I know a lot of people like Terry are using it, and it's working great. I think one of the biggest keys is maybe I was putting too much. And that's the reason I'm always experimenting and trying a little bit more. But with this 60%er, I'm going to go back to not hairspraying because this wing really needs to be super, super strong.
I can tell you it was really fun going to Walmart with him and having to find the hairspray and buy the hairspray.
Especially Aquanet. As we're walking up front, I was bragging. My wife's from the 80s. I can't wait to get home and see her hair. So,
I just made him go find it and buy it.
Yeah. Aquanet, it works, and a lot of people do it. And it does help to not saturate the wood as much. It does. I mean, that's proven. So, I'm just torn on some other issues with it. So going back to sheeting, do not line up your lines. That's one of the big keys. Sorry guys, I really need to start writing down some notes because wing sheeting is one of those things. The biggest key is just doing it. I mean, no matter how big or small, start out, if this is your very first kit, I highly recommend to start out with your elevators. Start out small so that you learn how it all goes. Even if you're going to try our trick of adding your trailing edges and things like that, start out on your elevator. Start out small so that it'll help you learn the procedures. So when you get to the great big stuff, those procedures are there, so you keep things straight. That's my big thing, is don't start out too big, but keep working on it. So,
welcome, Brad.
Is that Brad? Yes, that's Brad. So, is he online? Hey, guys. So
he's pulling a blank.
Sorry, guys. There's so many critical things about this that I don't want to forget.
Well, and we're going to do another video when he gets this when we wing bag it and all of that. So you'll be able to see how thin he lays the epoxy down, where he puts the fiberglass.
Yep, and we are going to add a lot of fiberglass in this one, especially we're going to do a 3/4 ounce cloth through these angles because of the open pocket. And I did that before on the open pockets that I've done, and it really did help to stiffen things up so that you'll never get a joint down in there. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. If there's any questions that you guys want looked at or talked about, please make sure to put it in the comments and we'll get to it for sure. So appreciate you guys very much for coming on tonight, and we'll check you later.
See you guys.
See ya.
Hey guys, welcome to Fly RC Joe's workshop, late night again. Kind of want to go through how I do sheeting. So if you guys take a normal tip, you guys take a razor blade, the back side, you guys rub across this just a little bit. You can actually channel this down in, just barely, so it doesn't ruin your tip, but it'll help you follow the wood a little bit better. So I'll just come over there and show you guys one real quick. This tip came from Jim Williams, and it works really super good. So that tip now can follow the sheet, okay? That's the reason this works so well on 1/16. Okay? So it's really not, when we talk about gluing your sheets together for if you have open pockets, or if you guys are ever building a kit and there's quite a few old kits that tell you to glue the sheets together. Oh man, now I'm shaking for some stupid reason. It's not horribly difficult. You're gonna see that that has a perfect little bead all the way down it. It's not a problem at all. Then,
Okay, guys, I'm on my phone tonight, so you got to say hi when you get on, because I can't see who's on. Welcome, everyone.
and let us know if the video quality is better this way. That's also another reason we're trying it, just for fun. So I will come up here into these 45 bevels and pull a bead line that way. And these are absolutely perfect because we use the sander, and that's the reason they're all the same. That's the reason spline sanding them in big groups is really the way to go.
Welcome, Aaron Newton and Tanner Pennington.
Hey Aaron, hey, I heard you guys are having fun at Council Bluffs. Wish I was there. It's just going to be a couple weeks and we'll be there for Corn Huck. Super looking forward to it. So
Terry says hello from Council Bluffs.
hey, I saw the pictures from Aaron today of the biplane. Cannot wait to talk to you about it. I hope everything worked out awesome on it. So, are you guys still out at the airfield? So, as I'm working along, I just keep rotating my weights further down so it just holds everything nice and flat. And as you get further along, you can throw a sheet of plywood on there. Even if you guys have some plywood instead of weights, it works just great that way too. So
They're still at the field. They're staring at Terry's biplane right now.
Awesome.
It flew awesome.
cool. That's awesome. I hope you're bringing that one to Corn Huck. So we're going to get through 2 more sheets here just to show you guys.
Terry says, heck yeah. Welcome, Tanner Curtis.
Hey, Tanner.
He's in New Mexico.
Oh, Memorial Day.
Welcome, Aaron Lancaster.
Hey, Aaron. Sure was awesome seeing you a couple weeks ago. So, to also give a Memorial Day shout out. You know, all these tips and tricks, guys, the reason I try to just show everybody is, again, all those great friends that have gone that have inspired me to be better and taught me so much, and yeah, so what's up?
I was waiting for somebody to talk about his apron.
Oh, okay, guys, why do I wear an apron that is covered in glue? Because as you're coming along, as you pull these sheets together, you will see the glue come out. Now, I don't leave that glue. I actually wipe it off and then just wipe it. So you'll notice there's no glue because of how small the bead is. Now watch as you pull it together. there's your bead. Now, that's the reason this is super easy, and then I just rub it off so that I'm not leaving too much. And it also checks that you're nice and flat.
So Aaron asked if you're making a stew with that apron.
No, this apron is disgusting.
And he said it was good to see us too.
So, we're going to go through real quick, and you guys can see this is just super simple. And as long as you just keep rolling the weights down, you can build this sheet. Now, the one thing, and I showed it before, at the end after, kind of want to go through it again. This far end sheet, you're going to notice I do this in big sections. I did one section, then I did another, and then it's too big for the bench, so I just have it floating on a stool with this. And the tape actually kind of helps it just hold. You know, you could even pull this out, and it drapes over the table, but it doesn't want to break because of the tape. So when you're all said and done, you're just going to take, and that's the reason you can't make it in too big of sheets, okay? You've got to have something that you're going to be able to get underneath. I'm just going to take this super thin ruler, and you're just going to slice it right off the bench, and then you'll be able to lift it up. That way, you're not lifting on the sheets, which could break them. So, I also give about 20 minutes before I pop it and flip it, because if you flip it and the joint's too wet, you can actually pop things out of alignment. So when I flip it, I check everything. Yeah, just don't flip it too early. So first wing came out of the bag. We are 6 pounds, 11 ounces. Now, I know, holy cow, that's heavy, but you got to remember, everything is in this wing. So these wings will do nothing but get lighter. So you guys can see that there's a line already done for where the coring is sitting in there. I mean, where the aileron's going to go. And then I'll start figuring out coring in about another day. So really nice and straight. Super, super happy with it. Really haven't, I've sanded them barely because I like to sand them when they're green. You want to sand them before the glue is dried. Now, 206 hardener cure time is 12 to 18 hours, full cure. These ones were done a couple of days ago. But the next morning at 12 hours, I pull it out. I pull the tape pieces off, and then I'll lightly sand it. If you guys sand it when it's green, if there's any epoxy that came through at all, it sands off super easy and clean. Now, if you guys wait 48 hours, it's a lot more work. So,
Tanner Curtis says the wing is pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's a door. So, hey Nicole, can you flip the light off? And I'm going to show you guys that.
Oh, we can see it.
Can you?
Yeah. Oh,
you guys
totally.
can see all the coring right through here.
Here, we'll turn the light off just for the effect, but you can totally see it. Hang on.
It's kind of fun. So, you guys can see that all the blocking's in there, all the coring, all the spar. You guys can really see that spar now. All the servo boxes. Again, how I found out where those servo boxes are is if you just have a really nice bright light, they will sheen right through. So, super cool. If you guys ever lose, like, where's my wire channel? It's not hard to find it. So, super cool. Put the light back on. So, huge shout out to the DeWalt light. This is a DCL 050 20 volt light. It's super bright. Super awesome, handy one.
We use that light all the time.
Yep. So there's the first
Dan
wing.
Pestanon, sorry, I hope I said your name right.
Yep.
Asks how are you gonna haul that bird a semi?
No,
If only you knew, Dan.
It'll fit in the trailer pretty easily. So, they are gonna have to stand vertically in the trailer or I'll put it in my upper rack. One day we'll have to do a little
We'll
video
do
of my
a
trailer.
trailer video one day.
Yep.
It's pretty much a semi.
But yeah, so honestly, guys, gluing your sheets is not hard at all. And again, the reason I like to do it is because it makes that sheet hold together as you're flipping it around.
Lancaster says yes, he is.
So, there's that. So, there was something else I was going to talk about on sheeting. Oh, I did use the hairspray trick on the underside in these wings. The hairspray is basically a lacquer, so when you're doing it, it's just helping to not soak the glue in too deeply on your wood as you're doing it. And my big problem was those sheets were so big, I was super nervous about it soaking in too much because it was going to take so much time to wet everything out. The spars, I mean, Nicole helped out a ton. She was working on spars, I'm working on wings. It took 21 ounces of glue, and I didn't go thick, guys. I mean, I'm using, it's super, super thin. So 21 ounces of glue, that's the reason at the last second, well, you got to do it a couple hours in advance, but at the last second, talking to Terry, I had to do the hairspray thing on these panels. Just, the more I looked at them, it was scaring the death out of me, and yeah, so we did do the hairspray trick, but I did do it super light. I did not go heavy. A lot of guys talk about, well, on other places they talk about going super heavy, and I did not go heavy. I went very, very light just to help that the glue was not going to soak down in and give me a flash problem. So flashing it's curing. It won't give you a proper bond. You need it to get, that's the reason you need to hurry with your epoxy. You have like up to 19 minutes of pot life, but remember, once it's thinned out, it's not the same as pot life. When it's in the pot, it's generating heat, which is making it flash, but when it's thinned out, it doesn't flash as much. That's the reason we're not freaking out on the time that it took for us to do these wings, but because we were over the 20-minute. I saw it once a long time ago, a working time, which is your thin layers, but can't seem to find the working time. But so we did the hairspray just to help the working time. So next we're going to set this onto the other sheet. We're going to cut the V. We're going to take and flip the ends so that you do not waste your excess here. And that's the reason, again, it's nice to build it as a giant sheet. So is there any other questions, guys, while we're on here? Super thanks for coming on Memorial Day late night. So
Hi, Brandon.
hey, Brandon.
Rachel.
Hey, dude, we missed you yesterday. So, but
It's not Rachel. It's. I used to be able to pronounce your name, Brandon. It's late. Forgive
It's
me, my
okay.
friend.
so, but super looking forward to Corn Huck. Can't wait. I don't think it can come soon enough. So, but.
Okay.
Thank you guys for coming on. We've just got 2 more sheets here, and we're going to let this cure for about 15 minutes. And then flip it and let it cure for about an hour before I really play with it, cutting it apart. Yeah, don't rush this process. So it'll bite you if you do. So Cool, guys. Thanks for coming on, and happy Memorial Weekend. And make sure to remember all those wonderful friends that we've lost, and make sure to cherish the friends that we have while they're here. So, thank you very much. Have a great night.
See you guys.
See ya.
Oh, there we go. Hang on. Yeah. They get to see me pull a funny face. All right.
We live?
Yep, we are live. When people come on, you'll see how many people are watching up there.
Okay.
And then
the comments will come.
The
from-
comments will come from the bottom. You just.
know.
We're going to be too busy to answer anything, so. But they'll all say hi.
Hey guys,
There's one person.
welcome to Flyers to Joe's Workshop. Gluing a 60% wing. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fast. We're going to try to answer questions afterwards. We're going to go through a couple of things first. Nicole's going to be doing the spars. We're going to have Kendra show the spars. So say hi to my daughter, Kendra, that is
Kendra's
helping us
helping
out tonight.
Hi.
So, hey guys. It's definitely a family affair when you build something like this. So, super excited, super nervous. You guys can tell. These big wings freak me out, and I don't know why. So, something that we talked about going through cling wrap. So, do not use wax paper when you're wetting things out, because you guys can actually pull wax into it. So, what I've done is I've just put cling wrap on here, and you guys will see why. We're going to wet these pieces of cloth. This is 1.4 ounce cloth. We're going to wet this out so that it's truly wetted out really nice and thin and even for when we put it down inside the spar. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through, as I'm doing this, I'm going to be just trying to describe everything that I'm doing. So there's a little trick. We just put tape on the top and the bottom and holding it tight with some clamps. And when we're done, we just kind of rolled that up and threw it away. So pre-wetting out this cloth, and then you guys will see how we put in the other cloth. So we're going to get started here. So ready?
Okay, we've got Aaron Lancaster, Tanner Pennington, and Steve Rains. Hey, fellas.
Hey guys.
Bear
This
with us.
should take
Try and hold it
about
still.
40 minutes.
Try and get in close so people can see. You got it.
Yeah. So
Kendra's helping us tonight. So.
cool. So
This is mine, yours.
here's 1, 2. One of the nice things about the West Systems epoxy is the pump system. That's the reason I really do like their epoxy. I'm not having to weigh it out. It just makes it really nice. And then I do keep a tally sheet of how many I have used. Because I know that the other wing took exactly, we weigh our excess that's in the cups and things like that, and so that we can keep track of it. And we know that we used 21 ounces of epoxy to do these wings, which is tons. But you kind of have to. So what we're going to do is on this plastic here,
They're
We-
big wings.
we just do a nice little swivel here. And then what I do is I just use a playing card to even all this out. It's kind of like doing the wing tube sockets. So it's very, very similar. So the nice part is you can squeegee that around. You can see that that gets really nice and evened, wetted out. You just keep pulling that down. Just like that. So, if you want to go show what Nicole is doing over there, Kendra.
Okay.
I'm going to finish wetting these out.
Hey guys, I am just epoxying his wing spar. And then when I get done with this, I epoxy all the other wood surfaces so that they have extra hold. Ooh, crap. It drips.
Dwayne Veerling is watching.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, Dwayne.
And Steve says, nice shorts and apron, Joe.
He's waiting. You guys, these
Everybody
aprons
loves
are
my apron, but it saves a lot of
crunchy.
clothes and my favorite shirts. And Nicole, I think, thanks me for it too.
Yes. You know how many times he goes to put clothes on, and before he got aprons, and it was, how'd I get glue on that?
Back in the old blue shed days, Steve, yeah, I
Yeah.
went through a lot of clothes back then before I
Okay.
figured it out.
I'm coming around.
Okay.
And I just do a little extra so that it'll slide down in, because he's got this so that it's
Very tight.
very tight. Okay, Joe, I've got this ready if you've got one ready.
I got one ready.
Awesome.
So, come back over here real quick. So you guys can see that when it's nice and wetted out, you can really hardly see where the cloth is.
Which one are we taking? First one?
First. You got it?
Yeah. Kendra, you need to go stand
So-
over there for just a minute, please.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to
Dr.
lift
Carver.
it up.
Okay.
And she's going to... Now, this is purposely too long.
Flip it.
So, yeah, how do we do that?
Okay.
So she's going to set it just where it's just inside of that wood. And then we're going to set it right down, centering over this pocket.
Back up just a little bit so I can kind of feel everything. There you go. Perfect.
Aaron asked, is this going to be at Corn Hawk?
No, I am, I'd say 6 months. Fuselage is done, pretty much.
We have so
We're
many
working on the
projects.
cowling right now.
Next year. It'll be out of Corn Hut.
Oh
next
yes,
year.
it'll be there next year for sure. So now all you do, now make sure to re-wet this tip out. So all I do is just set that right back down in that pocket, and it sucks that glass right down and in, and it has a little bit of an overhang on purpose. And we just kind of rub that out to the sides.
I'll lay it back down.
And then she's going to wet this out, and we're going to lay a 3.6 ounce cloth on that. And I'm going to start working on these sheets. So again, to reiterate, we did do hairspray on the wood. Now you're going to see that the sheet is too big for the bench. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet up this section through here first, and then I'll move it and I'll wet the back up. So
Kendra, try and plug back in for a minute while you're watching him.
Okay.
As gently as you can. Don't make him seasick.
I know. Tyler Brown is watching.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
Glad you made it.
can't wait to see you real soon.
You'll meet him in Iowa too.
Oh, okay.
So tonight, my daughter Kendra is helping us out, videotaping while Nicole is helping me out here.
And my battery on my phone wasn't at an optimal spot, so she's gonna have to keep plugging in.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with it.
So these rollers that I'm using is just a black gnat roller. Now they used to use them a lot when we were doing countertop material and things like that. And I've tried a bunch of different kinds, but when it comes to rollers, guys, it kind of depends on where you're at in the country. There's definitely different brands in different places, things like that. So definitely just find a really nice tight gnat foam roller style. They make a white one, make all sorts of different kinds. But
So, are you doing your strips over the silver box with this, or with the receiver? Right here?
yes.
Linda Rains is watching.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, Linda. So we are ready to drop the cap. That back piece, I mean the 2-ounce cloth on the top. So now
Okay.
I'm using a 1.4 ounce cloth on down underneath. Then over top of the spar, I'm using a 2-ounce cloth to make sure that the 2 goes beyond. Or here, trade me sides. So I can trim it. And then there's little tiny dots right here, and that's just the center of the spar. Yep. So just barely set it off the edge of the wood.
Okay.
And what you can do is you can pull this a little tight right there. And that's that.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
So then you can take your roller and you can just wet that right in to the spar. That way you know you don't have any air bubbles that causes issues, things like that. So what I did is I started out with 5 pumps. Again, I do not, even though I know how many ounces of glue this is going to take, I do not mix it all in one shot.
Kendra, you can come on your own.
What it does, it speeds up your pot life if you make them in too big of batches. So make sure you're not making too big a batch.
I'm just touching up the wood, the edges, help everything adhere. And then I'm going to be doing his cross bracing on the other end.
Now, I know Terry really loves to use color, and you know, when you guys start doing epoxy, I might actually recommend it a lot because it really does help to see where you're at. Make sure that everything's wetted out. And it really rarely blows up through your sheeting unless you guys have some wormholes or something. So I would really recommend it, but yeah. So now we got it all on here. We just want to make sure that everything is very evened out. And make sure, what happens is the wood still soaks in a lot. So you really gotta really hurry. And the hairspray trick also helps that. But you don't have to, but it helps.
Okay,
So
I'm just
we're
about
ready
done.
to lay down this back one. Yep.
And then I should be able to let them in.
So now this next piece is a 1.4 ounce cloth set up about 1/4 of an inch. From the back trailing edge. Now, the cloth through the ailerons really helps. It's something that, especially if you guys are going to core out your ailerons and take out the sheeting, this will help a ton. Yep.
Do you have your V pieces wetted?
Gotcha.
Okay, I can do that.
2 seconds. So now what she was just talking about is in my latticing, I use a V going along, and it comes from the PAU airplane, and it really did help with strength. And I'll show you right where we're going to put that.
Okay.
Now what's neat is you don't need a lot more epoxy over here. Grab your cup.
I was going to say, do you want to finish up my cup? There's not a lot, but...
You're not going to need a ton of epoxy, just a small drizzle to help wet these out because it's already there in the plastic. Yep.
I got a little more if you need it.
Make 2 more pumps in the cup.
Do you want me to empty out what's in here?
No, it's okay. So
2 more.
2 more and put a little kind of line over on where the V-star goes.
I already did.
Oh, perfect. Okay, then we're ready to flip them over there.
Well, now I got to do this.
Yeah, just go ahead and make them and start stirring.
Okay.
Oops. Now, there's a couple reasons in adding this 3.6 ounce cloth to the top of the spar. It does help the strength, but it also ensures that your spar is not going to shadow.
You want to drizzle or do you want me to brush it?
No, it's okay. Just keep that sitting there. I didn't know you'd already read it. You're good.
You told me to.
I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve says, I can't believe how far you have taken the flying. It's awesome. I
You
love
know
it.
you miss it.
And you know we miss you coming
Yes,
out
yes,
flying with us.
Even more.
Yeah, very much so. You and Sal and Brent and Brad Parsons, and absolutely everybody. Yeah, you have to come out one weekend. All of June is pretty much booked, but next month when I'm back, I will shout at you.
Now Steve said I should stay building, not the flying. I missed that too.
Come on. Okay, what did you do?
So we're gonna just set this down right here. Now you guys can see what I'm talking about with the V-spar. So that one's to length, the other one is not. I just so another crazy one here at the end of my wing tubes. Now we're talking even tail feathers, everything. I like to add a cap.
Cut that. It's attached.
I like to add a cap at the end of my wing tubes, which I think we went through when we were doing this, but just a plywood spar about 2 inches in from the end of your wing tube. It really helps strengthen up a wing, because what happens is the foam slowly starts to break down, and you guys add that, it'll really do it. So
Okay, back up a little. Okay. Okay.
So
Try and hold it still.
we got to double check that we're all wetted out and everything looks great, everything looks good. Okay, it's okay. So
My gloves are really good.
So now we're going to just bring this up and over. We're going to start at the trailing edge. You need to go down. No, right there. You're barely hanging off the back side.
I'm hanging off a little too much, I think. Or is it okay?
You don't want too much overhang. It's okay. It's just going to make it stick to the foam. It's okay. You don't want it too goopy, but it's not going to kill you. So we always trade gloves in between sheets.
Because they get horrendously gross. Got it?
Ready? You gotta flip and spin.
Flip. Good?
No. Set this over here.
What do you do? Sides don't break.
Lift your spar out.
Aaron said, "I think you should do a bigger plane." Haha.
Aaron, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, oh no.
Okay. So now I'm going to get back to wetting out the next sheets.
So I can start. We're good?
Yep.
Courtney said Roger and Lori are watching with us.
Oh, hi Roger and Lori.
Hi.
This is what we do.
Aaron said 80% next year. Courtney said Nicole sing for us.
No.
I can sing Janis Joplin. Aaron, it's a good thing you live in California.
Malcolm Sharp is watching.
Oh, hey Malcolm.
Hey, Malcolm. We are sheeting a giant wing tonight.
When you get bored, helping Brad. You can come help build planes.
Bye, Courtney.
See you, Courtney.
Bye Courtney. Bye Roger and Lori.
Malcolm said, hello, I second Nicole singing.
That would Joe would lose his concentration. We don't want that.
No, not right now.
Okay.
This is extremely stressful.
Brad Wortston is watching.
Uh-oh.
Hey Brad.
Hey, Brad.
We got Kendra out here helping us tonight.
Hi.
So behave. I saw your flight on your DR1. Good job.
Hey, everybody from Council Bluffs. Next year we got to talk Brad into coming with me to Cornhuck and
Heck yeah.
bringing the DR1 with the turbine. Thing is amazing.
Or just coming.
Yes. You would actually have
Planes are
fun.
optional. Okay, this is ready. If you're ready.
For the spar.
Uh-huh.
Let's set this spar in the glass.
On the wing.
Yeah. Let's just set
On the
this
sheet?
one real quick and then we'll bring that one over.
Just over the wood.
Yep, just barely over.
Gotcha. You are good.
So again, this is 2-ounce cloth that is right over top of the spar line.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me just keep working on this.
We're gonna move the other over.
Streamy tonight.
It's because it's been moved around because I cut it the other day when we were doing the other one. Okay, just barely on the inside of the wood.
Brad said, you need some mob sense, dude. And he also said, ask Joe if we're going to MM.
Okay. You talked me into it, dude.
let's buy tickets next week.
Excuse me?
Yes. Yes, we're going.
To what?
Marilyn Manson.
Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Only if you send us wives to the spa. Did you hear that, Brad? Spa.
So now she's gonna wet that out. We're gonna set the 3.6 ounce cloth on next.
Carol Rhodes is watching.
Hi, Carol. It was nice seeing you.
It's quite the family affair tonight.
I think Courtney shared it.
Yeah. Aaron says that he wants to go.
Well,
Fly up here, Aaron. Let me see ya.
just come on up.
Please don't.
We'll put you up for the weekend.
He was just here.
I know.
Starting to move slow. My back's killing me.
We forgot something. It's okay. We don't need it.
Aaron said tempting.
This? I pointed to it.
Strips. But it's okay. We've got the ailerons. Okay.
Oh. Well, there was extra epoxy there.
So each sheet takes 7 ounces. The other neat part about the West Systems epoxy is one pump is 1 ounce. So as you're trying to figure out how much weight you're adding to an airplane or something, or wing tube spars, you're building them, it's super nice just to know that. So
Carrie D. Davis asked, "What's the time frame to get all this all done and in the bag?"
So your pot life is 30 minutes, up to 30 minutes. Now, pot life is different than working time. But
We hurry.
we hurry as fast as we can because I don't like the 209 hardener. Just don't like it as much.
I need more. Can you want me to just take your cup?
No, just make 2. I need 2. And that should put you right at 21.
I forgot to mark down my list too.
Okay. You're good. I've been keeping track also.
Do you want me to mark them down?
Yes. So now what we're doing, Terry, is I actually add fiberglass over top of some of the key areas. Spars, ailerons, things like that. It's something we've been experimenting with for quite some time now, and it's amazing the little amount of weight that it adds for the strength. And if you guys wet it out first, we've done it, wetting it out on the foam. We've tried every different way, and this is definitely the fast way to do it.
Okay.
Spar's ready. Got it? Or do you want me to hold
I got it. We're adding 3.6 ounce cloth right there.
I'll start on the bees and then come do the front.
I'll go wet the bees and we'll raise the
Okay. I need myself sticking my tongue out my bee.
So also, Terry Davis, how do you kind of figure out your sheen time, your working time? This is the very first thing that we did. So as long as this stays extremely tacky over here, I really know that I'm okay. That's also how I keep an eye on it. So
We're ready.
I'm just going to wet out that cloth. And again, guys, if you guys have any questions, please make sure to ask, and we'll definitely get them answered after. Technical question. Well, I don't know. Kendra's been doing awesome.
Yep, Henderson, good.
Probably won't be the last time you guys hear her voice out here. So we're having fun.
Okay, I think we're good to go over here. For everything.
I'll bring the last bee. You got scissors? Okay.
Here, you put that on, I'll go get the other one. Here's your scissors.
Grab the foam roller and just roll over that.
Okay. Yeah, just stay right there. Okay. Sorry guys, she's got to plug in. Yeah. There you go. You want this?
Yes.
Just right there.
Just need a little resin.
A little extra right here.
Yep. Just right in center. This piece right here is just a piece of cloth that I put over top of that D box. You know, most of the time I've seen foam wings break. It's at the end of the wing tube, not in the nowhere else. It's just always right there. So that's the reason we add it there. Okay. Double check we're not sheened or a dry spot. We got a little tiny dry spot right there.
You can try this. No, no, never mind.
It's the
Go
cloth.
back on the cloth. Okay,
Okay. So now
we're gonna just spin.
here, you go to the back side. I'll flip it to you.
Back side of the zebra.
Yep. So the reason again I like to glue my sheet.
Okay, I got this corner.
On a wing this big, I don't know how you would pick it up without it curling up your back. It would, you actually run a risk, especially on turtle decks, you run a risk of a seam hopping on you.
Do you want me to get the bag ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, start getting the bag ready.
Okay.
Gloves on.
You, my dear, need to go over there. It's okay. This won't take that long.
Okay.
So now, getting her in the bag. Now, we need the cloth.
Tom Sharp is watching.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
We're vacuum bagging a 60% RC airplane wing while it glues together. We just epoxied the whole thing. Put the sheets of balsa on the foam. Now we're going to put it in this vacuum bag. And it'll stay in here for 24 hours.
Minimum of 12. That's what you want.
Andy Hinton is watching.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Randy. Kendra's out here helping us tonight.
Hi.
He snags the bag.
So fold these up just a little bit. Like this. So that you
And
can
two.
see. Yeah, fold your cloth.
I know, I'm doing the end too. Trying to.
What this helps me do is make sure I'm aligned. Okay. So now, you need a piece of cardboard and cloth to your breather. This is super key. That it doesn't, the cardboard's super key because it'll crush your breather down too much and it can cause you all sorts of grief. So, let me make sure to align this shut. Add the cardboard right underneath that breather. Now, make sure that's up on there. Let me pull this. Oops, step on that bag down there, Ken.
Okay.
So I can pull the whole thing down. Okay. Pull the bag tight.
I'm pulling the table crumbs.
I need the charger.
Okay.
I need the charger.
Start the bump.
Walk around that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
There we go.
We help it out because it's so big.
So that just helps evacuate out a big bag. So now, you've got to make sure to check
Go stand
the alignment
Yeah, it's gonna have to crawl around a bunch.
of the foam chuck. Now, I am not going to leave this in here on the floor. We're going to actually move this to a bigger flat bench. This is just to help move it. I got a few more work areas. A few more benches in this room, so that's the reason we do it in here. So you're going to lift your bag up tight, watching your pressure so it doesn't jump too high. You want to kind of pull it, cradle it back in these corners.
So your cardboard's going to push it into your foam, but not. You're going to see it. Okay, is that good? No.
Yep.
I
Well,
pushed
I'll
it.
come check it. Watch the pressure. It's climbing. So now we just make sure to pull and tuck all this. Oh, we're good right there. That's good. She's talking about the cardboard kind of curls in just a little bit.
Justin Smith is watching.
Oh no. What's up, dude? So this took, I guess we could go back and look. I think it was 40 minutes to get in the bag. So
That's better than last time.
watch that pressure. Yeah, that's so what I'm going to do is I come around and I just pull on the bag, making sure that it's a nice tight fit, and that's how I can get it to really pull over those edges and be nice and tight. So now we're sitting at 6 bar. Now we were able to move it to the other room. And you guys ever have any questions? Have any questions? Answer them up real quick.
Do you want me to pinch it? No,
Pinch it. So
you pinch it.
Justin said, I thought I would stalk you guys.
Oh, please
Yeah.
do.
So we're gonna have to unplug.
You're going to have to unplug and follow us. But
Okay.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna move this to the other flat bench. Pump here.
Bye.
Come on over, kiddo.
Okay. Okay.
So what this bench is made of is 2 layers of spin so the hoses out. This is 2 layers of 1.8, it's 1.1 thick high press MDF. Then what I have is a sheet just for a little bit of weight of
Okay.
high press MDF right here. Now your foam shuck, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I like normally to have one big sheet made that fits the wings, which you guys saw with the other one, but this works. So now I can verify that that foam is perfectly down on that bench. And if it's not, I'll unplug it, allow just a little bit of air in there to help it, make sure everything's straight. Now you can also verify your straight edge. You can set an 8-foot straight edge on the back of these trailing edges and make sure that they're all perfect. But that is how
On smaller planes, we actually clamp a straight edge.
to it, and that is really helpful. But there's just no way on these wings. They don't make a small straight edge big enough. So there you guys go. There you guys go.
Aaron said, "Thank you. I've always wondered how you do this." And then Dustin said, "He's gone. He's back."
Well, thanks for watching, guys.
We'll go through comments.
Now we're just going to watch this pressure right here. As things go, the bag keeps letting out a little bit more air, and so you have to watch it. Sometimes this will climb. Now, I do pull at like 6, so there's your number 5. I'm pulling like at a 6 and 7. With the open pockets, I found not to go above your, I guess they would call it 8.5. I do not climb above that because you will wave your pockets. If your pump acts up, you'll see a little bit of waves. It's not going to kill you. It's like an open wing. There's waves in those, so it's not something to freak out about, but we try not to. So hopefully this was fun for you guys to watch. Hopefully you guys...
Real quick, is there any questions? If you think of anything later, you can always post it. We'll answer.
Yeah. There is... never mind, I won't say that.
Okay, thanks.
This is definitely the biggest wings we've ever done, and it sure has been a challenge, so cannot wait to get these totally done. So we're pushing hard. So thanks guys for coming on. Appreciate you. Have a great night.
Oh, Tyler's gonna post a question.
Oh, okay.
So you can ask now while you got it.
Yeah, you can ask. We've got it.
He's just winding down from the rush.
Oh, this is like, guys, no joke. This is running as fast as I can go on these. And even if you had multiple other helpers, I guess one more helper maybe would help, but it's hard. So
there's still a lot of dancing around. One more just get in the way.
Yeah,
that would be hard. But.
It's
He asked earlier, so we'll go back through and answer it.
Thanks,
sure.
Tyler.
Thanks,
and we
Tyler.
will see you later, guys. Have a great night.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for coming on. Hey guys, welcome to Fly RC Joe's workshop. Probably the most depressing one I've done in a while. So, but I've always believed that this happened for a reason. We want to figure out why. We hope to learn from it. I'm going to tell you guys what kind of happened or theories of what happened. We don't know. But this is like the prime example of like, if you give up on the first failure, then you're not, it just happens, okay? It doesn't matter how good you are or how many times you've done it. Accidents happen. Don't throw your hands up in the air and say, I can't do it. This is definitely not going to be, I quit for me on this. I mean, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to design some new pumps, things like that. So, what happened? There's a couple of things that happened. We pulled at 5, 6.
Tell him what happened.
Yeah, I'm going into it. So what happened is we always pull at 5 to 6. So this gauge, when we unplugged, it sat about 3 bars higher. So that means I truly pulled this wing at about 8 bars. Now at 10 bars, you're going to crush a wing, a solid wing. So an open pocket, this went really bad. The other thing that I believe happened is there was a storm that kind of came in, which raised our barometric pressure last night, which also affects this. So I am definitely, I know that this gauge is bad as it's been sitting. It is fallen. And so from here on out, I'm going to get 2 gauges. I'm going to try a new tank system. We're going to really totally reset on this. The pump didn't act up. It was the bleeder system.
So what happened is the wing is defective now.
Yep, the wing is crushed.
The wing crushed, and this is what he is explaining of how that happened.
That's right. Sorry, guys.
It's been on his mind for a couple hours now, and so he's processed this himself. But this is what he's explaining. The wing crushed.
Yes. So we're going to go through a brake test with it. So the gauge freaked out, which means I overpressurized this wing. That is what happened. We do know what happened. So, you know, big mistake. So we're going to go through and show you guys how bad it is, things like that, and then we're going to go into a brake test. So one other thing that kind of happened with overpressure is the wing stuck. Now, again, nice thin ruler. You can actually scrape this off to get your shuck off. Now, you're going to see that it stuck quite a bit. Not horrible. Okay, this is the bottom side of the wing. The top side of the wing, a few little dots, but it wasn't bad.
Brandon says, I know you won't, but don't get too discouraged, Joe.
Oh.
You'll get it figured out, and the new wing will be even better.
Yep.
Kendra, can you put that up?
And that is a very, very much so, the number one thing, guys, is, so what happened is right through there, the spar line is great. As you come forward, it's pretty bad. Now, a couple of you are going to say, well, it's not that bad. But what's happened...
Oh, we just got it.
Oh, sorry, guys. Let me reset
Trying to
this.
figure out how to make so you guys can see it. There it is. There, look, you can see through
Yeah,
it.
you can see, I mean, on this back side over here, we're talking some of these gaps are up to 1/4 of an inch. It's really, really
spot,
bad.
leave it there. This spot.
So,
You can see.
the craziest part is when it crushed, it, even over top of the foam, the wing is extremely soft. As I push on it, compared to the other wing, it's horribly soft. So what this brake test is going to do is just make me feel better so that I can throw it in the trash can. No. What it's going to prove is the T-spar. Now, also remember, the glue is cured at 24 hours, but it progressively gets better till about 48 hours. And that's always just been for me. So I really don't like to work on them too much until it's been sitting for a full day. So I guess on to the fun.
This is stuff that he always does when there is, if there's a mistake or a machine problem like this one was, a machine issue. This is how he learns.
I definitely learned from this. You know, and I used to, when I first started building wings, we'd build them just to break them because I was trying to figure out, like I talk about, these bevels here.
that you don't want them over staggered over top of each other. That all came from doing brake tests. And every time you guys see an airplane crash at the field, it doesn't matter if it was even a midair. Use that wing if the airplane's destroyed for testing. You know, break the thing apart. Learn where the weak points were. When an airplane crashes, where did it break? At the canopy? You know, and that's where I've tried to strengthen my fuselages is through there. Same with wings. It's definitely more expensive nowadays to do it. That's the reason I like to do it with crash stuff. But tonight's going to be a great example of, here you guys go. So please remember that this wing is weakened. It's also not fully cured. So caveat there. Let's start throwing some weight onto it. So
Everybody that's on, give us a hi. Tell us who's here.
So we're going to start out with 40 pounds. £80.
Watch, you're probably going to see me jump like that.
Well, I thought it would have broke by then. So let's keep getting some more weights on it.
Brandon says, send it, Joe. Hello, Aaron Newton.
Hey, dude.
One more over here.
So we're now flexed really well. Okay.
Let's see if I can show you guys this way.
I really don't want to break this because it's going to cause a mess, but here's another 25 pounds.
So we're at 125?
125 right there. So we've now exceeded what the weight of the airplane is. Maximum weight AMA, 125 pounds. We've now exceeded that.
What was that?
10 pounds.
So it's 135?
135, 145, 155, 165, and we're still strong. Now,
Gosh.
I want you guys to watch something. This is not even on the spar. This is still on the leading and trailing. So what we're going to do for the next brake check is we're going to flip it over and see if it can handle the same amount of weight. If it can, well, I'm just going to go back and build a new wing. So this is like really, really exciting. Okay, look at how much that wing can actually flex and still handle the strength, the weight. This is really impressive. So, holy cow, guys. I physically cannot even lift it. And I throw bundles of bar that exceed this thing. So reset here, and we're going to flip it to make sure that there's not a change in negative load. And I got to be dead honest. It doesn't break after this. It's just going to sit in the corner, and so I got to look at it. So I'll probably screw it to the wall.
That's all you
My big
need.
mistake.
More stuff.
I know. So super exciting right there. That is one stout wing. Just to kind of prove to you guys that these are full, that is a 40-pound bag of salt. This is how we used to do the Gorilla Glue before good old Terry got me talked into vacuum bagging. And I love vacuum bagging, okay guys?
Brandon wants to know what the final weight of the wing was.
Oh, 6 pounds, 11 ounces. So,
Okay, I'm gonna.
so now we're held, I cut off the tips of the shucks so that it could set on this bench so that I'm really applying the pressure evenly.
over that.
So, just fun little tidbit while you guys are watching this. The last time he did one of these brake tests was on a fuselage. Some of you may have heard this story.
Why do we use salt bags now? And I also keep my legs out from underneath. One of my very good friends, dang near got hurt pretty bad. We had it up in the air.
Instead of putting
And
it
I
just a
had
few
stood on
feet
it.
above the air, they put it on top of a ladder. So they were way up
We were
there.
being boys.
Yeah.
Dude, guys.
And it broke with somebody standing on it. But it took a lot of weight to get it to break.
It was 235 pounds.
On a bare fuselage.
The crazy part is, and it was a 50% cap, and I know you guys have seen some of the pictures from back in the past of me standing on a fuse. It didn't even give a crack or a groan before it let loose. It was really scary how it just shattered. And normally they'll buckle. You'll see it starting to break. You can kind of freak out and get away from it. But
Brandon says, go big or go home.
that's right.
So, are we doing 155 again?
155 pounds right here. Okay, guys, I'm physically on a weights. Another 12 pounds.
Oh, sorry, guys. Trying to move it down so you can see the curve.
It's curving. It's definitely curving. But am I 1,000% positive that that wing is extremely strong? So even get some real bounce going into it. That thing ain't gonna break. So, how many of you guys out there, give us a thumbs up, whoever's watching, who wants to see me sit on it?
Oh,
Or my wife doesn't want me to go to the ER tonight.
yes, they are 40-pound bags, Aaron.
Yes. So, that is...
So that's 160 pounds just in salt.
That's right. Sorry,
You were
guys.
adding wrong.
We're adding wrong, sorry.
I wasn't adding.
Oh.
That's so. How much we've got? Those are all 10s except for the 25 on the weights.
Holy cow. We just really exceeded everything. 160 plus 25 plus 40 plus 12. We just did, there's no way,
Yeah, you did.
300 and... Hopefully you guys can see my shocked and awe, okay? Holy smokes. So, 40 times 40. Times 4, 160 pounds. Plus another 25 pounds. Plus another 40 pounds. Plus another 12 pounds. That's 237 pounds of weight. These wings are extremely strong.
He's got to process that for a second.
Well, especially with, if you guys were here to feel how much that leading edge is gush. When it crushed it...
Welcome, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Joe just put 237 pounds on the wing.
And it didn't break.
Then he flipped it and did it on the other side.
So... Now remember, if you guys ever kneel on one of these, it's going to put a stress point at a really bad spot. Okay? That's 220 pounds. So, what I was. I'm back up there. Sorry, guys. I actually was really doing good on a diet, and now it hasn't been working. So, am I 1,000% positive? You want to start handing me some weights?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, we're gonna stop there.
Brandon says that's awesome, Joe. That's one bad wing.
That is really strong.
Or no, he says that's on the bad wing.
Yes, this is.
And Aaron says you need more salt. No, I think we're good, Aaron.
I think we're gonna just call this because the airplane will not. These wings are 6 pounds. I'll just go through my gold numbers on this airplane, guys, because some people are kind of asking or wondering. Motor combo, exhaust, prop, and spinner is right at 30 pounds. My gold numbers, my fuselage is sitting at 5 pounds, 6 ounces right now. Turtle deck and rudder is going to add about another 3. The actual main rudder is going to be 2. Your tail feathers are going to be right at like 6 to 7 pounds. I actually have it written down. I should grab it. Wing panels, I was hoping to stay at 10 pounds. Wing tube is 2 pounds of that. Your landing gear, wheel pants, is going to be right at 8 pounds. So I was going to be pushing, the variances that I have right now is cowling and canopy and hatch. Because we're going to lay up our first cowling in this size, we were hoping to hit like 5 pounds and another 5 pounds with the canopy. So we were going to be sitting at like 90 pounds. So what we just did doubled it.
Terry just joined. Joe just put 237 pounds
Hey,
on
Terry,
that
I
wing.
just got to show you. 220 pounds.
Hey, Jared.
Hey, Jared. This is the picture of the night. So
Screenshot that, everybody.
screenshot that. That's
No.
that is one.
Just give him some thumbs up. This wing is... At least he's been able to test it, and he can know without a doubt that his wings are going to be strong.
Oh,
we
yeah.
just have to build another one.
Yep. So the challenges that we're going to have is when I do my wings, I marry them together when I'm doing my wing tube sockets so that your wing tube is aligned in the fuselage. Now, we already have 1/16 the sheeting in the other wing, so this is going to really throw in a... How do I figure this out? I'm probably going to make some wood jigs at the end to hold it.
Terry said, told you.
I know. So, the craziest part is this whole front end is completely crushed. And I'm not pushing in between the pockets. I'm actually... Sorry, I'm trying to do this from the backside to show you guys.
Turn off the light, Kendra.
You guys can see that I'm hitting the spar, and it is just completely crushed and softened right out. You guys can see our X-bracing. And again, I guess this is even more proof that everything works. That's the end of the wing tube. Comes through here. And it just crushed right down through this section. Right here in the front leading edge is really good.
Sorry, guys.
Right through here, right through this center section of this bar is just gone. Now back here in this coring, this is perfect. This really didn't crush.
Put your level back on there.
Okay.
Terry says that you need a tractor to break this wing. No
Yeah.
worries, Randy, for being late. Brad just joined. Brad, you missed it.
You missed it.
You have to go back and watch it.
Before we're getting done here, we're going to show it one more time. So, you guys can see back through here, everything was great.
Get it
It's
there.
just that front
right there.
right there. So that front edge right there is just, it's pretty bad. But am I super stoked here with the strength of these wings? I guess this really proves that this new T-spar can really handle the pressure. So, Cool, guys.
Randy says you gotta hurry and make another one. Spats Invitational's coming up soon.
I know. I so wanted it done, and I'm still gonna push. But now with summertime, we're gonna try our best. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys.
You said you were gonna show it one more time.
Okay.
You don't
I'll
have
hop.
to. They can go back and watch.
You know what's crazy? If you guys hop on this wing,
How about you not hop though?
yeah,
That's-
it's crazy cool how strong it is. Yeah, that's impressive. So I hope you guys can see how much it did bow. And again, with my wings in fiberglass, I'm purposely not trying to get my wings so rigid. My planes are designed to flex, and they're like, well, how long will that last? Man, my first 40%er, I had it for years flexing that wing. And I finally messed it up with corn hug, slipping it in and knocked the gear out. The wings never gave up. Actually, my friend John has got the airplane, and he thinks he might fix the fuselage. So, yeah. So.
Tanner Pennington says just fill it with filler. LOL. And Terry wants to see you do jumping jacks.
On it? Well, first off, I don't fit in the ceiling, or else I'd take you up on that one.
No,
So.
he wouldn't.
Thank you, guys. This is a real big learning lesson, but also,
Randy says a Jane Fonda workout.
yeah, get back down to that 189 weight, the good weight. But this is definitely, and again, when you guys are scratch building like fuselages, I really do twist tests. I don't stand on them every time, but if you guys do a twist test, you can really feel the strength. And if you can't twist it without covering on it, should you trust that you're going to go fly it? The beauty of this is we're well over the weight, the goal numbers that I ever wanted to hit with these wings, and I'm still on track to hit the 10-pound mark. This thing's going to be incredible, and especially being this thin a wing. Yeah, I haven't sat on a wing this strong ever, and we're talking. I've broken up some airplane wings that were built by people. I'm not going to say names, but super high end, tons and tons of carbon fiber in them, foam wings, and I've never experienced one this strong, and this is a big span. So yeah, hopefully you guys really enjoyed me trying to kill myself tonight. Yeah, so thanks,
Steve,
guys.
go back and make sure and watch this one. You're going to want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.